What's the deal, y'all? My name is Jarrell. Welcome to another episode of Baseline Banter, where I give y'all my thoughts and feels on the WNBA and try to put y'all on game. And it's been a minute. I know it's been a minute, but that's what happens when life gets to you, man. But look, the season is over. Regular season is officially over, and we just finished the first round of the playoffs. So I got quite a bit that I want to talk about today, but I'm gonna try to keep everything brief. So first, let's talk about the regular season ending and first round of the playoffs. So of course, as going from 1 to 8, we had the Liberty, Minnesota, Connecticut, Vegas, Seattle, the Fever, Phoenix, and the Dream. And let me just say this. I'm going to be honest. Every team that lost in the first round had no chance of advancing anyway. There was no chance that the Dream was going to beat the Liberty, and I'm going to talk a lot more about that. The Storm, as great as they were in the second half of the season, they were not beating my Aces, especially now that Chelsea Gray is back to form. Phoenix, they weren't touching Minnesota. After what Nafiza Collier did to them, especially in Game 2 with that 42 ball, especially with this potentially being Diana Taurasi Swan song, it's only right. And of course, the Fever had absolutely zero chance against Connecticut. Speaking of Connecticut, or the Fever, really, I just want to say this, man. I'm very disappointed with the way that Kathy Engelberg has handled this whole Caitlin Clark fans and racism and the Fever fans situation, because we've been asking her to address it for the longest. Never did. Then the WNBA decided to wait until after the Fever lost and were eliminated from the playoffs to then put out a statement and say, "Oh, guys, racism's bad," when we've been asking from the beginning of the season. Now, again, I got a whole thing on why I don't like Kathy Engelbert, but Kathy, you need to step down. Please, I'm about sick and tired of you. And it's unacceptable that as a commissioner of a league that's growing like this, you're allowing this to happen. Now, granted, she doesn't have any control over what people do, but she should have been said something. Should have been done something. And she waited until after the source of the problem was eliminated from the playoffs. Okay, good. Okay, I see what you're doing here. But let's talk about semifinals coming up. We have the Lynx and the Sun, and on the opposite side, we have a finals rematch of the Liberty and the Aces. And I'm gonna just keep it a stack. Like I said earlier, man, Chelsea Gray has returned to form. A'ja Wilson just had one of the greatest seasons in the history of basketball. I don't want to bet against. You will never bet. You will never catch me betting against my Aces. Plus, I don't trust the Liberty, especially after what happened last year. And honestly speaking, as good as Connecticut is, Minnesota's even better. So I honestly feel like we're going to get an Aces and Lynx finals matchup, and Aces in 5. Aces in 5, y'all. Come on now, y'all know where my roots are. But I want to take this time to stray away from my Aces and all of the good teams. And there's one playoff team in particular that I really want to spend my time talking about. And I want to talk about my good old, lovely, wonderful Atlanta Dream. With that, I want to take this moment to speak directly to Renee Montgomery. Now, you're probably not going to see this. I don't have a following like that. But I want to give you the biggest piece of advice that I can. Granted, I'm not an NBA or WNBA executive, but I just want to give you a little bit of advice, because you have done amazing work with crafting this roster. This honestly was one of the best rosters that, this was one of the best rosters that was in the league. So, with that, I want to just say this. Dear Renee Montgomery, with everything that you've done amazing work. But if we get to the start of the 2025 season and the head coach of the Atlanta Dream is still Tanisha Wright, Renee, I'm going to need you to sell the team. I am appalled. Keep in mind, I'm I'm a Pistons fan, so I already am used to watching bad basketball. But what I saw this season was absolutely unacceptable. Honestly, what I've seen since Tanisha Wright has become a coach is unacceptable. For one, I don't know why she doesn't like playing her young players, especially because she benched Haley Jones last year when they needed her in the playoffs, and look how that worked out. And now she basically didn't play Letitia Emmett here all year. And let me just ask y'all a question, the ones that everybody else that's listening. If you're down to the number 1 seed in a best of 3 series, right? You're getting cooked. Your starters decide, you know what? Let's lock in. It's game 1. We're getting cooked. Let's lock in. We go on a run at the end of the 3rd quarter. Why would you then bench your starters for the entire 4th quarter? I remember I asked at the beginning of the season, is Tanisha Wright the right coach for this team? My answer was no then, and my answer is still no now. So I don't know where she goes from here, but you need to leave the Atlanta Dream. Because it does not make sense to me that a player who was known for her hard-nosed defense, a multiple first team all-defense WNBA player, a multi-time Big Ten all-defensive team player, and the Dream have the most mid defense in the entire league. They should be locked down, like at least top 4. But they're like 7th in the league defensive rating wise. That's unacceptable. Let alone, in the 3 years that she's been a coach, Tanisha Wright, in 2022, had a record of 14-22, missed the playoffs. In 2023, went 19-21 and lost in the first round. In this year, with a roster that should have been at least a top 5 seed, went 15-25 and lost in the first round. They got swept. Keep in mind, Tina Charles was making history all season. Ryan Howard was continuing the ball. Alicia Gray was an all-star. Haley Jones was continuing to improve, and with the limited minutes that she got, Letitia Emmett here was playing decent too, as well as Jordan Canada, as well as Aerial Powers. So, just get rid of her. I never want to see Tanisha Wright coaching an Atlanta Dream game ever again. And if Game 2 of the first round was the last time that I ever saw her, look, I'm going to be honest. My mom told me that if I don't have nothing that's nice to say, that don't say it at all. But Tanisha Wright, good riddance. I'm sorry. All due disrespect. Because what you did to this franchise needs to be studied on what not to do. Because you had a complete roster, a solid roster. Heck, the Dream, it was more Dream players making my hits on my parlays than anybody else. The Dream were making me money. Individual players were making me money. The problem is the coaching. And Renee Montgomery, I know that you do good work. I mean, clearly you have a great eye for basketball, seeing as you've assembled this team. So all I need you to do is get rid of Tanisha Wright. And maybe you can bring Curt Miller in. You know, Curt Miller just left LA. Bring in Curt Miller. Bring in somebody. Heck, bring Bill Laimbeer out of retirement to coach this team. Heck, I have no coaching experience, but I think I do a better job than Tanisha Wright. So hire me, but just somebody that is not Tanisha Wright. Please. But with that being said, I want to get y'all thoughts and opinions, man. What do y'all think about the Dream? What did y'all think about this season? Really, what did y'all feel about this rookie race between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese? And who do y'all think is going to win the chip? But with that being said, thank y'all for tapping in with me. I hope y'all continue to tap in, not just with me, but the WNBA as well. And I will see y'all in the next episode.